The pollution that is literally killing you is also the only thing keeping the planet slightly cooler right now. That's not a metaphor. Sulfur dioxide, the stuff pouring out of the same smokestacks driving climate change, is bouncing enough sunlight back into space to mask about half a degree of warming. Half a degree sounds small. It isn't. And the moment we clean that up, which we absolutely have to, because this pollution kills around 7 million people a year, that hidden heat shows up fast. The skill industry overheating the planet is also functioning as an accidental, temporary sun shield. You couldn't write that if you tried. But here's the part that actually bothers me. The greenhouse effect itself is old physics, not controversial, not complicated. The sun sends energy to Earth as light. Earth absorbs it, then releases it back as heat, infrared radiation. Gases like CO2 and methane intercept that heat before it escapes to space. More gas, more trapped heat. That's it. That's why Venus bakes at 465 degrees. That's why Earth, without any of this, would sit at -18. Nobody's arguing about the mechanism. What's terrifying is the dial. Before industrialization, CO2 sat at roughly 280 parts per million. It's now above 420, a level the planet hasn't seen in at least 3 million years. Naturally, CO2 shifts by 50 to 100 parts per million across tens of thousands of years. Ice ages, orbital shifts, ocean circulation changing. We added 140 in under 200 years. 2 human lifetimes. And here's what most people miss about that number. It's not the height that's the problem. Earth has been warmer. Life survived, but it survived because the change was slow. Slow enough for species to migrate, for forests to creep northward across centuries, for coral to adjust across generations. When it happens this fast, none of those exits exist. A reef that took millions of years to evolve cannot adapt to a 2-degree shift in 100. Biology doesn't have a gear for that. The rate is the weapon, not just the temperature. And CO2 is not working alone. More heat means more ocean evaporation. Water vapor is a greenhouse gas too, more potent than CO2. So warming creates conditions for more warming. Arctic sea ice is disappearing, and ice reflects roughly 80% of incoming sunlight, while open ocean absorbs 94% of it. Every patch that goes dark becomes a heat trap instead of a mirror. Permafrost in Siberia, frozen for tens of thousands of years, is thawing, releasing methane, which traps heat roughly 80 times more effectively than CO2 over a short window. Each feedback loop wakes up the next one. This is why the heating is accelerating. CO2 didn't just nudge the thermostat, it switched on a set of amplifiers that are now running on their own schedule. Back to that masked half-degree, like describing an approaching storm. The aerosol effect means the full bill for our emissions hasn't arrived yet. Part of why is the ocean, which has absorbed roughly 90% of the excess heat generated since 1970. That heat doesn't disappear. It expands the water. It rewires current systems. It will bleed back into the atmosphere for decades. The surface temperature you hear reported is the edited version. The rest is already in the pipeline, already committed, already coming. There's no walking that back. The question is only what we stack on top of it. About 56 million years ago, something, probably volcanic activity, possibly methane destabilizing on the sea floor, dumped a massive amount of carbon into the atmosphere. Temperatures rose 5 to 8 degrees. Oceans acidified. It took 200,000 years for the system to settle. Scientists call it the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum. It's the closest natural event we have to compare this to. That carbon injection took an estimated 10,000 to 20,000 years. Ours took under 300. Some of these feedback loops, the Arctic albedo loss, the permafrost thaw, may already be self-sustaining, running without us. Nobody knows exactly where the line is between a difficult trajectory and an uncontrollable one. The most credible science puts the danger zone between 1.5 and 2 degrees above pre-industrial levels. We're at roughly 1.3. That is not a comfortable margin. And this Yet, solar deployment is years ahead of every projection made in 2015. Battery costs dropped on a curve almost no model predicted. Global emissions growth has slowed. Not enough, but the direction shifted. The physics does not negotiate. The chemistry doesn't respond to politics or ethics. It responds to one thing only: concentration. How much carbon is in the atmosphere and how fast it got there. What you are living through right now, not historically, is a civilization trying to see a slow catastrophe while it's still in motion, not in hindsight, not in a textbook written after, in real time, with the outcome still open, with the data still coming in. That has never been done before, not once. The gap between what the science knows and what actually happens next is entirely filled by people making decisions right now, including you.